Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live. Peace.
Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
You need that fear.
All I'm trying to do is make a stand for something that I truly believe is right. I truly believe is right. I want to be like you. Come on, man. I'm the face of boxing. I'm the cash cow. I hold the record with you.
My drop, I know my drop, I know my situation.
ESPN production.
But it's gonna be very difficult for both of us.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Super Bowl edition of the Boxing Voice. The Super Bowl's on probably somewhere right now. We're having our own little Super Bowl on boxing. A lot took place yesterday and throughout the weekend. We got Showbox on Showtime to discuss, as well as Top Rank on ESPN. And we cannot forget about the they're closing it up now. I guess it's the finals of the WBSS, or it's the World Boxing Super Series, with the Muhammad Ali Trophy on the line. And Murat Gassiev comes away with the win and unification. So we will be discussing that. Plus, Terence Crawford, Jose Benavidez get into a verbal scuffle. Crawford invites him outside to, and I quote, not make it to his fight the next day. Definitely a lot to talk about. We're going to get on out to our co-hosts all the way from around the world. We're going out to the Golden State, to Matt, the Hipster Hunter.
ThaBoxingvoice production.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it? Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rope into a knockout. Now, when the main thing is, I just hope the guy, I wish.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Yes, the hipsters here. Haters beware. And I know we shouldn't get any hate for this show because we're doing it literally as the Super Bowl is playing right now. I have it on the background. You know, shout out to all the football fans out there. But like we say, every Thursday, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we are here for the flagship edition. Tons of topics to get into. Can't wait to chop it up with the panel. No! Oh, I'm sorry, Ness.
Super Bowl in the background.
Yo, I'm barely paying attention to it.
No!
It's okay, Ness. It's okay.
Cheating on boxing like that.
Cheating on
boxing.
Come on, man. Like, are we gonna really act like this weekend was like that super lit? But anyways,
introduce to me, because you'll be shocked to hear what I got to say. I mean, I think it was a great weekend.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the same. I mean, look, the reality of it is.
Try talking into the mic.
So the reality of it is, I didn't catch all the fights. You know what I mean? But the fights that I did catch, which was the Dorticus versus Gabier, that was a hell of a fight, man. I think. How
about you try to door and kiss the mic and speak into it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually had the mic volume all the way low. Sorry about that. Still trying to ride the producer wave like Maddie B. Gaddy. Yeah. So you know, I thought it was a good week of boxing. There was a couple fights scattered throughout different networks, but I caught the Gassiev versus Dorticus fight, and I really appreciate what those two guys were able to show the public and take a 12-round fight when you know, certain shots. I would have never seen a guy really take shots like Dorticus, man. He's a fucking robot. I had a good time watching the fight, and I think that they really put the 200-pound division on the map, in the sense that you can count on an action-packed fight in that division.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that division in about 3 topics, and hopefully Gassiev can
fumbled the intro though. That's cool.
Continue to produce. Yeah, you're right. I was supposed to play that shit. My bad.
Or you talked over your intro before you played it. To be fair.
True. He just jumped in. That is what he did.
I mean, it was kind of you, Doomy, but anyway.
Like, hurry up and introduce Doomy. He just started talking like
digressing.
I didn't watch the fights. But, speaking of someone who did watch every single thing out there, except for those names we will not mention.
Oh, well, we might mention them.
We'll see.
Depending on who.
I don't know how Benavidez Jr. made headline topic on today's show. I'll leave that for the producers to worry about once they see the comments from the listeners. That being said, I could only follow the rules, and there was a scuffle at the weigh-in for Jose Benavidez's tune-up. Could someone get the name of that very game fighter?
Yes, I can do that.
And while you're doing that, I just want to give a big shout out to ESPN and Top Rank. I want to take this time to do my best rendition of Alex Lemon from Northern California and say Top Rank is doing a hell of a job. The production level on that entire fight card.
Matthew Strode is his name.
Matthew Strode. Oh, snap, he's your cousin. The production on that entire fight card felt like a big time fight. They made it feel that way. The commentators, I did miss Teddy Atlas, but I get it. You know, just the colors, the vividness of the picture, the HD quality, everything, the lights right before the main event, the show that they had a little light show. I don't know, tennis, anyone. How'd you guys think of the overall production of this boxing on ESPN card in Corpus Christi? Shout out to Munguia.
MIA Munguia. I don't know what to really say about it. I think the card overall was a bunch of mismatches with a bunch of names that we know, unfortunately. Taking the Eddie Hearn playbook, you load the card with a bunch of prospects and names you're pushing and a bunch of mismatches, and you push the card heavily on the telecast, and you make it seem like a big card, even though it's not. That's the way I viewed the entire event. And plus, it has an ESPN Top Rank, push, for the industry. So I'm not surprised it looked the way it did, even though it did look great.
I just want to do my little, I don't know, hater shit and say, why haven't we seen any articles about how Top Rank is failing miserably and they're going to ruin boxing on network television because they're abusing this ESPN deal, doing ridiculous mismatch after mismatch. I mean, Valdez is in the same type of fights that Jesse Hart and Zuldo and Gabriel Flores and Teofimo Lopez and every single Top Rank A side was in a very undermatched.
Even Nkajas in the co-main event was in a huge mismatch. I mean, there wasn't a single competitive fight on
that. A game fighter, though. Let's be honest. We got to give Gonzalez credit.
No.
Game ass, badass. Father went to jail. Fuck that. I'm Miklos about to make it happen live on TV. Ass little dude. I liked him, but he had no pop. He was like Matt versus everyone he's ever fought.
And also he just wasn't doing anything. Like he was in there just to be in there. Like he was just walking. I would
disagree with that. He was definitely being a counterpuncher. It just wasn't as effective, but he was definitely 1-2 and counting. Like he wanted the right to the body and then the left up top.
Okay, by round 6, if that game plan's not working, you got to change your game plan up, and you didn't do that. So I didn't view a guy in there trying to win the fight.
You know what we did? We always make these mistakes. We started off talking about Benavidez and Crawford, never said what actually happened, went right into the card because that's where Benavidez actually fought, was on this card. See, that's the thing. Like the way this topic was, like this could have been an afterthought in Benavidez fight. It didn't have to be the headline, but somehow the producers of this show feel that Terence Crawford will be fighting.
Why don't you just say me? I'm the producer. I'm the one that made it the headline.
I was trying to save you the backlash.
I can argue it. I don't think it's that big of a backlash.
It was a committee of you and maybe Doomy.
Here's the because Doomy's really in on it on the pre-production group chat.
Legendary boxer always on cue says, "Stop promoting Crawford's next bum cherry, Ness." And that's what I'm saying. Like, why are we talking about Crawford's next possible fight that we won't like, even if he did sign it? Because let's be honest,
that we don't like it. That's the exact reason why we bring it up. because we know that
we're letting Top Rank and Carm already know today, like, hey, we see what you're doing.
Yeah,
we had these guys in the hallway about to fight like they were in the school, but we don't buy it. Do me? You want to stop sitting there like your mannequin from the movie?
Well, you can make fun of me all you want, but you know that I said already I didn't watch none of these fights, and I didn't even watch the video that you're talking about now. I'm actually looking at it on my own in my side window right now, and I'm seeing that there was an altercation between the two.
And let me jump in.
Okay. You don't have to watch the fights to know that you either A, like the matchup between the tall, young, ambidextrous.
But yeah, of course I like the fight.
Jose Benavides versus the also tall and long. Say it again.
Ambidextrous.
Terence Crawford. Both men moving up. So I understand why Top Rank, Carl Moretti, Bruce Trampler, and what's the other guy, Todd DeBuff, are like, look, if we could get the public to believe that this is a match they need to see because of this, schoolyard brush off that they had where they're shoving and pushing, this is perfect for us because it's a 147-pounder who's really not a 147-pounder, who's also had 2 years out, who's also been shot, who's also fights with his hands down, who also is not the better of the two brothers. Just saying.
He's a poor man's Felix Verdejo. Let's be honest. Like, that's what Jose Benavides is.
What the hell is that?
Let me get
that he's being very disrespectful. Jose Benavides, Ninka Sea, he won a fucking WBA strap.
Okay. He won a WBA strap. I don't give a fuck about the WBA.
I mean, look, do I like the fight? Yeah, I like the fight, but is he gonna get the fight?
Whoa. Hit the backspin. What the fuck you mean you like the fight?
If I like the fight personally, I would like the fight, but does it mean that Jose Benavides is gonna get the fight? No. He hasn't done enough yet.
I mean, I think he's gonna get the fight the way that all the fucking Christina Poncher, everybody was like.
The entire ESPN telecast set up that fight,
except for Bradley. Bradley was the only one like, yo, this dude, if he's gonna be talking shit to Crawford, he's got to do better than this versus this type of opposition.
So what you're saying? They're pushing the fight. The network they're pushing the fight.
The network is laying down the groundwork. I mean, they continue to drop little hints like, "Hey, we can't really say, but if you do a little Google search, you'll know that Manny Pacquiao's coming back on the network, and also so is Terence Crawford versus Jeff Horn, but it's not official, and it looks like he'll be facing Benavides after." Like, I mean, you didn't watch
on the telecast itself. They mentioned that Terence Crawford replied on social media to the Jose Benavides fight with LOL.
They laugh out loud.
The telecast. So they're pushing this event. They're pushing.
Not only that, Matt, they also had the trainer as a commentator, and he is the manager, and he accepted the fight live on air. It was like, Bomac, I mean, do you want this fight? I was like, shit, we'll take that fight.
Oh yeah, that's
look good.
That's an easy W for Terence Crawford. Come on, man. Like,
the reason
I brought it up is because to me, it's the biggest name with the biggest headline of the weekend because the fights really weren't that great.
But let's be fair to Terence Crawford, to Top Rank, by saying this is the way of boxing. And not only that, Danny Garcia, when he moved up from 140 to 147, he had a 43 fight or a 42 and a 44, then a 47. So if Crawford decides to fight a 47 with a not so true 147, should we be allowed to be mad?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Because if this all happens after the Jeff Horn fight and he beats Jeff Horn, with the amount of shit that Terence Crawford has been talking, yeah, we're going to expect him to go over to PBC and fight one of those guys immediately.
So, okay, I mean, I'm a victim of this, of saying this in the past, Doomsday. I mean, one tough fight, one easy fight. Is it bad for Crawford to have the tough fight for the WBO title, first time moving up, facing a guy in Jeff Horn, awkward style, guy we don't have much tape on, obviously looks naturally big, Crawford being the smaller man to move up. If he faces and defeats Jeff Horn, why should he automatically go after a top 5 welterweight next?
I mean, I don't think that would be advised. See, look, Crawford's really confident when it comes to his boxing skills and his skill set. So he's the type of guy who likes to challenge himself. And when he feels, he's always feels confident, but when he feels like he can do it, he'll do it. And it's up to his team ultimately. But as advice for someone to then face a top 5 other than Jeff Horn, right away, right after now. I'd say take another light fight, get used to that weight, and then take another hard fight. I mean, it happens a lot. A guy goes for a hard fight, when he comes back, he gets like, a comeback fight. You don't even got to call it a tune-up nowadays.
But let's be honest, the fans, because that's what I was arguing about, not really the advising part or the managing part, the promoting part, because they're obviously going to advise Jose Benavidez. That's why we brought up this topic. That's why me and Ness both think this fight is going to happen after Jeff Horn, if he beats Jeff Horn, because that's what they will advise. But the fans are going to demand, not necessarily that they're going to get, but they're going to demand that he goes over to PBC after beating Jeff Horn. Because A, we think Terence Crawford's that good, and B, he's been saying he's that good.
So he doesn't fight Benavides. He doesn't, or he does, and then he goes to PBC.
I have no idea what he does. I'm assuming he probably fights Benavides, but I really don't know.
You obviously do not want it.
No, I do not want it. I think it's a tune-up. It's a tune-up.
Tune. Call them Looney Tunes. And I ain't talking about the cartoon. Listen, let's go on to the undercard. Before we get to Zuldo, let's get to the real undercard. Let's take it back, because I don't want my man Alex Lemon coming on with the AK spraying something. Gabriel Flores Jr. was live on ESPN app. Shout out to ESPN app. I finally figured out how to put it on my Sony Bravia. So no longer do I have to Chromecast or any of that, because for whatever reason, ESPN app doesn't Chromecast right to the TV. You have to have like a separate Chromecast. It always picks up my girl's Chromecast, but not the, internal one. So whatever. I figured it out, put it on the app, watch these fights. Magnificent quality. And the ability to have the playback on demand, really loving it. So I watched the undercard fights. Do we have a bout sheet, Matt? Can you pull up the order? I just need the names, and I watched every one of them. And they were, while we've already established that, they weren't super competitive and the A sides were meant to win or look good. I don't want to piss off or ruffle legendary boxer's feathers too much before he comes on. But accepting and knowing that these fights were what they were, and they were not meant to be fully competitive. I'll start with the Honduran, Teofimo Lopez, who they are pushing very hard, and I like it. I like it a lot. He's very cocky, and I'm not going to say Adrian Broner-like, because he's not just talking, but he does have attitude. He does have some charisma and machismo. You can head on over to the Boxing Voice Instagram and check out his highlight reel where he touches his foot in the manner that you would when you go to slam dunk. I don't know. I think it's a windmill, right? No, windmill is not that.
But crossover.
No. You ever seen someone dunk? I think it was the dude from Toronto with the bald head. I know these names.
Vince Carter.
I believe Carter used to, jump in the air and then with the ball hit his sneakers, then dunk. So Teofimo did that with one foot. He lifted up his back foot, right hand and back foot meet. The opponent was mesmerized. Boom, boom. The 1-2 lands, even the hook. What I question is the power. I don't know the caliber of this opponent. So we don't know how durable this is. I don't know, Matt, do you know who this opponent has lost to before? Because I'm sure he's been in that circle. You know what I mean? We've seen him face other guys. But what did you think of Teofimo? And I'll find out, if his opponent has been in there with anyone we might know.
I mean, I'm looking at his opponent's resume right now. Maybe the only name you might know is where was he at? A Daniel Estrada, maybe.
Okay. We'll be talking about Estrada later when we talk about Ancajas, because
no. That's not that Estrada.
That's David Estrada, right?
Yeah, no. That's Juan Francisco Estrada.
Francisco Estrada. David Estrada is the cruiserweight.
Teofimo's opponent was Will Madera, right? That was the kid's name.
No. He's scheduled to fight Will Madera now. If that cut heals properly. And this is what we need to talk about. He did a lot of showboating, which obviously catches the attention of the commentators, the producers, the networks, even the promoters. They want you to look impressive. They want you to entertain. Are you not entertained? But he got a headbutt and suffered a cut. He says he's going to be still fighting. If you check his Instagram, he's still going to be scheduled for March 17th in Madison Square Garden here in the tri-state area. But it's a possibility that he may not be ready for that because the cut won't heal. Have you guys watched this fight?
I actually didn't catch that fight either, man.
Yeah,
sorry to say.
Yourself all on the top rank. You neither? You neither, Matt?
I definitely watched it. I watched the entire ESPN card. Teofimo looked good. He looked methodical. His jab looked good. His control of distance, the pace. I can tell the cut not necessarily bothered him, but it made him really stick to the boxing and not really go after a finish, in my opinion.
Wow, that's so funny. Because, the telecast brought the cut up a lot. Maybe because you were watching it live. I don't know if you didn't have the telecast on. They seem to sway me and have me believe their opinion that, well, actually Bradley, because Kriegel felt like you, like maybe he was being affected by the cut, but just putting on a facade that he wasn't. Bradley felt, hell no, look at him. It's been 3 rounds now. This guy's, he's fighting like normal. He's fighting better than he was in the past.
I think if he didn't have the cut, he would have eventually picked up the pace and the work rate and try to get that KO or TKO late in the fight. And because of the cut, he was a little more hesitant by going in there in close in the phone booth and maybe getting a headbutt again, opening up the cut more. I felt that was there, that he just stuck to the game plan, stuck in first gear because of the cut. Not necessarily that he was upset by it or that he was flustered by it, but he never got out in gear because of it.
Was he frustrated?
Frustrated. Wilderism, yes.
You could be right, because I do remember the telecast, and specifically Bradley, because he is the brain there, right? When it comes to boxing and technique or whatever. And he did say, like, yo, he seems to be taking breaks. He shouldn't be taking breaks. If he wants to be this next star, if he says he's this phenom, he should be getting this guy out of here. And that didn't happen. But at the same time, I looked at it like, yo, this is a prospect that needs round. This is a guy that moved from Florida to Las Vegas to get higher quality sparring. They said on a telecast, kid, he bought a 10,000 square foot house in Las Vegas
for his family.
Now, that's not that expensive, but it is. I mean, it has to be at least, even if, like, let's say a hard, why am I going in his pockets, right? But that's cool. I'm not even going to tell you what it could cost. Just say it's cool that he traveled. He brought his whole family. He got 10,000 square feet. That's more than enough. Believe me. I would love to live in 3,200. Like, that would be a dream house for me. So imagine what 10,000 is. That's fucking 3 of those, right?
That's
amazing. And yo, shout out to fucking Top Rank that this kid could afford to either buy or lease, rent a 10,000 square foot house already on a Top Rank prospect salary.
He looked good, looked like a solid prospect, did not look like the next superstar in this fight. Not saying that's not what he is, but he did not look like that in this fight.
At 140 either, he needs to put a little more pizzazz on these performances, because at 140, we got Regis Progress. We got other guys, even not Emmanuel Alim, but is it Alim? No, the one that's going to be in the fight with Ramirez now.
Miramon, come on, man.
Amir Iman, we got guys that are already flashy there that he's going to have to perform better. And again, we're talking about a guy who had his 9th professional fight and didn't take out a guy that all his fights were possibly from Mexico. Juan Pablo Sanchez. Pretty much every single fight in Mexico. That was his first appearance in the United States. So
he needs another year to a year and a half before he's up there with a belt yet.
But I like that they're starting early, Doomsday, saying on air to the public, this guy is the next star. That's what he believes. This is that, and they're focusing your attention on that. And look, 24 hours later, it's still in my mind, and I'm sure it's in a bunch of other viewers' mind. Now, this is your guy. You put me on him about a year ago. But you didn't watch this. Fuck.
I didn't watch it, but I know the kid's a confident fighter. He's confident in the ring. He's got his signature backflips at the end. He's entertaining. He's my
Definitely
countryman.
the backflip again. I'm always fearful of fighters doing those acrobatic moves in the ring, and it's like, boom, you twist the ankle, you're fucking out.
He's been doing it for so long, though. It's like second nature. I mean, I think Matt, you would agree with this, right? It's a little crazier when they hop out off the octagon. I think they actually
I kind of agree with Ness. I don't like when any of them do it for the injury reason, but I mean that's just me being cautious.
But like I said, he's a confident fighter. I think that they just need to. They're doing like they're supposed to. They're bringing him up the way they got to bring him up, giving him some exposure to to better fighters as he progresses. But yeah, you're right. He has a tough crowd in that 140 pound weight division, and it's kudos to Top Rank for doing this with I think a lot of the young fighters, especially with the Olympic team fighters, like Shakur too. They're all being pushed and they're being promoted at a young age, so that by the time they are champions or contenders or belt holders or whatever it may be, they actually have a crowd following, and they can sell pay-per-views, tickets, whatever it may be. The more they grow their fighters, the more successful the promotional company will be.
Well, he definitely can talk the part. And when we're talking a skill, I see the skill and I see the defensive awareness. I don't know if Matt, you were seeing he was doing a combination and he always brought that right hand back. And boy, did his opponent, always try to take advantage and follow up with a left hook. But he's very, very technically sound with that defense. This is a good fight to watch. You can still watch it on the ESPN app, which also means you can use it. You can see it from by watching it on the ESPN app. You can view it on a desktop, a mobile phone, a tablet, or a smart television. Like I said, today I was able to go into my smart television settings and menu, download the Watch ESPN app straight to my Sony Bravia, and I have it there, and it's the best thing I've done because now I got an ESPN 3 so I can watch these Russian fights later on instead of always Chromecasting. But let's talk about Gabriel Flores Jr. Shout out to Teofimo Lopez. Hopefully he makes it for March 17th and we get to see more of him. But Gabriel Flores Jr., he looked – it's funny that Alex has always talked to us about him. And I've seen already basically all his fights, all right? Or maybe I missed 2 or 3, but this was his 6th professional fight. It was in ESPN. It was on the app. And the composure of the kid. I mean, I keep saying was anybody. We're on a jab doomsday. Matt, were you impressed with his composure?
Doomy's on it.
I feel so naked out here right now without seeing these fights, man. Damn.
I'll be honest. He looked good. He looked really good. Looked really sharp. Looked really skilled, technical, methodical in a sense. But I mean, look who he was against. I mean, that was one. Teofimo
was against the same type of fucking cupcake.
Exactly, but that's why I'm just like I don't know what we really have yet with Gabriel.
Everybody was up against a cupcake. Look at fucking Ramirez, and it took him.
Let's be honest. Teofimo Lopez fought a guy with over 45 fights. Gabriel Flores fought a guy with 6 fights. Like there's a huge drastic difference in that.
Yeah, he fought a veteran.
Okay.
So I mean,
okay.
Literally
I still feel like Teofimo's Juan Pablo Sanchez was like, a fucking.
No, he was vastly better than Alex Solorio. Come on, man. Who was 4-2.
I mean, listen, he's supposed to be. Teofimo's 20.
No, they're both supposed to be fighting guys that are bad, but they are fighting guys that are bad.
No, they're on the right level, Matt, because you got to understand, Gabriel Flores Jr. is still a senior in high school, bro.
Yeah,
so,
I understand.
He's not supposed to fight the 50-year vet.
Ness, I'm not expecting that. You misunderstand my point here. I'm just saying I can't get too hyped off of it like an Alex Lemon. Because while he looks phenomenal, look at the quality of opposition. I have to wait until he gets a little bit older to fight better opposition. But he's definitely a guy to watch. 100%.
But that's my point. Like, we've seen other prospects in with this level of opposition and not look as crisp. This boy looked it.
I don't know about that.
Really?
You go back and you watch Earl Spence's first couple fights or Mayweather's first couple fights against this level of competition. Yeah, they looked better.
Oh my God! I wish I had all my sound bites right here. Can we get an applause? He's fucking good. Hey, Alex, you're gonna love this shit, homie. He compared him to Earl and Floyd.
I'm just saying, like, but you are like you're saying, like,
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. That shit came out
really early. Hold on. You said look at the guys who hyped really early, who are the Floyds and the Earls of the world, and yeah, they looked better against these level opposition, in my opinion. And one, they were also fighting guys at a much higher level at a much earlier pace than a Gabriel Flores Jr.
What did he fight? He fought a 10-round fight?
I do not know what we have in him yet. He looks great. He's definitely a guy to watch, but I do not know what his ceiling is. I do not know if he can be a championship level guy. I do not know that.
What did he do to this guy, Alex Solorio? How was the finish?
It's insane that these people are the same people that can, quote unquote, use the eye test to see talent in an Earl or in whoever the fuck they choose. Now you can't use the eye test to see that this kid
really are we comparing
is sharp.
Are we really comparing a guy like Earl who had at least fought top 20, top 30 guys when people started getting on that hype train? Same with Lomachenko. When we have a guy with Gabriel Flores Jr. fighting a guy that literally only has 6 fights and literally has lost half of them. So I don't know what we're talking about.
He didn't lose half of them, did he?
I mean, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, I don't know what we have here in Gabriel Flores. He looks great. Looks fantastic. Definitely a guy to watch. Definitely talented. What is his ceiling? I have no idea. I think that's completely accurate and fair to say.
Yeah, the guy has, 4 fights? No, 7 fights, right? Yeah, 7 fights.
All I know is
4. Yeah, he did lose 4 fights.
Now, you know what you've seen.
Hey, man, I know that Gabriel Flores Jr. is a friend of the show, and I know we have to be nice, but I'm keeping it 100 here. Like, I don't know what his ceiling is. Looks fantastic, but he's very young. He's fighting a very low level of opposition here. I don't know what we have yet.
Yo, listen.
What you do have is an up-and-coming fighter. That's for sure.
Yo, yeah. But Alex, listen, we've been here before. This is this kid's 5th fight, right? And we've seen people struggle. We've seen people go a decision, suffer a headbutt, clinch a lot, anything, right? But like, oh, he looked too good, so we're just gonna overlook it, brush it off because it isn't the level of opposition. It's his 5th fight.
I didn't brush it off. I'm saying I don't know what his ceiling is. Those are my very specific opinion about the fight and him. Are you disagreeing with that opinion? Do you think
exactly why network television will never work? Because our boxing fans are so fucking like uptight and fickle and just hard to please.
How am I being hard to please?
I'm speaking in general. I'm just speaking in general because this has happened in the past with PBC when they attempted to show us the evolution of a prospect to contender. We as boxing fans, we get disgusted. It's like, oh, don't show me this bullshit.
I didn't
see him. Let me finish. In general, I told you already, I'm speaking.
But you are saying it after my opinion, so you compare.
Other people that are going to have your opinion. There's other people that are going to have your opinion on the fact that they're all mismatches. Listen to me. Just listen to me. It's the fact that people are going to have the same opinion as you because these are all mismatches. It's going to be the same, sing and dance that they used to do with the PBC cards and the fact that they were not, or they were failing to put on the best versus the best, during an opportunity where boxing was on quote unquote live television or free television, right? And all I'm saying is I'm always okay with this. I was okay when it was ESPN with PBC because I love the evolution. I love to know the Teofimo now at 8-0 before he's fucking 15 and 19-0 and on a Showbox or an HBO After Dark. And I would rather see Gabriel Flores now versus somebody, who's 4 fights in with 2 losses, but see him now versus when he's 20-0 on Showbox or Boxing After Dark.
What are you saying right now that's disagreeing with my point?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
Just expressing myself because I know that there's going to be people like legendary boxers specifically who's going to say Top Rank put on shit. Why y'all not giving them shit? Top Rank put on shit. But I'm just being consistent because when PBC quote unquote put on shit, it was okay for me because I love development fights. I love development fights. I want to see you suffer a bit of adversity, but not suffer the loss. You don't need that. You need to learn. And that's what a developmental fight is. That's what Gabriel Flores was in. That's what Teofimo Lopez was in. And David Kaminsky, who opened up the card, was also in one of those, and it didn't go so well for him. Lucky for him, the opponent, Rafael Nunez, was inexperienced, has only been in 5 fights in his life or 4 fights, and he's only won 1, lost 2, and had a draw in the other. So when Kaminsky came out there a la Jesus Soto Caras and blew his load versus Mike Jones being the one that blew his load, Kaminsky kind of did the same thing in the first round. Matt just like 1-2 bombs. And yo, I really thought he was about to get rid of this, Mexican dude who looked like a Mexican Uber driver, but he didn't. And he lasted. And then Kaminsky didn't look so good.
Yeah, but it was also his pro debut. I mean, that you always expect someone in their pro debut to look a certain way, to look a little bit almost nervous or agitated or anxious in the ring.
He's an Aegis Klimas guy. That's like saying he's an Al Heyman fighter. Like, you don't just give him, like, if you want to be, see what I'm saying? You want to be hard on Gabriel Flores for not fighting nobody, but then this guy gets a pass because this is pro debut. But he's a Lomachenko, Usyk. That's the level that he's on. He's with
that's definitely not the
level. Manager.
That is definitely not the level that he's on. Just because he's signed with the guy doesn't mean that he's equal to everyone in that guy's stable. I mean, that has never made sense.
I ain't saying equal, but
come on, that's
good pedigree.
You have 2 gold medals. Does David Kaminsky have 2 gold medals? Yes or no?
I don't know.
So to compare him to Lomachenko just because he's in the same stable or managed by the same guy is ridiculous. Put that to the side.
I don't even know who Kaminsky is.
Secondly, I didn't say anything other than he looked nervous.
Matt is upset.
So what did I say that disagreed with your point, Ness?
What are you talking about?
We weren't disagreeing.
You're trying to say that I'm nice on David Kaminsky, but I'm mean on Gabriel Flores. What did I say that was different than your opinion?
Well, you said, it was his pro debut.
He looked nervous. Yeah, guys in the pro debut look nervous.
I don't think I ain't see nervous, man. I don't know. We had definite opinions about a lot of these fights because I seen a very aggressive kid. He was throwing
a guy that was anxious in there, that was throwing too much on too many shots, that didn't know what to do.
Okay. I did see him putting a lot on the 1-2s, but he was walking his man down. He just, he didn't put it together properly.
Of course he did, though. I mean, he was fighting a guy that was 1-2-1. I mean, again, he may be a touted prospect somewhere, but he's not Lomachenko.
Almost got dropped in the first round too. You seen that?
Yeah, I did. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like there's some prospects that looked really good against these level.
And that's my point. This is a prospect who obviously Aegis Klimas expected to have a better professional debut, and he had a stumble.
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but then we've seen Gabriel Flores get hurt before, I believe, haven't we? Like we've seen him get.
I don't know if we've seen him go backwards. This guy was punched and went backwards. He stumbled.
Maybe not. Maybe that, but I've seen Flores flipped. I've seen Flores go to.
Never seen Flores get tired or blow his load or look anxious. That's what I was talking about. See, that's why I didn't like that you just brushed off the Flores fight, because the level of confidence, the maturity, poise, all that he showed is something that Kaminsky didn't show, and not even Teofimo. Even though Teofimo was shining and trying to showboat, he didn't have the composure of a David of a Flores. Why? Because Flores kept his man at the end of every single punch. There was a nice distance between Flores and his opponent always.
And again, you're talking about guys with over 500% more pro experience than him. So.
All right.
Really
go on now. Do we have to go back to Jose Benavides? I mean, did we talk about it enough when he took on Matthew Strode, Matt's cousin? David Benavides 25-0, Matthew Strode 24-5. Listen, I don't know what I seen yesterday. Okay, it's not a style that I like. I don't like guys that switch. You know, I know people love Crawford for being a switch hitter and switching from orthodox to southpaw. I don't like that. I feel that shows that you're running out of fucking ideas. It works for Crawford, cool. And it's working for David Benavidez. At least it did yesterday. But, you know, Matthew Strode is Matthew's cousin. So, you know, it's that level of opposition.
He's not my cousin.
Jose Benavidez fights like the way that he did yesterday, Matt, versus not Crawford, because he should not go in there with Crawford until he corrects the fact that his hands are down by his side a lot. He thinks he's the 147-pound version of Jarrett Hurd.
Yeah, I don't know about fighting with your hands down in the sport of boxing. I mean, sometimes you do it just to get better head movement. I mean, sometimes you can feel confident about the distance, but a guy that's clever in maintaining and gaining distance, and he'll have a bad night doing that shit with Crawford.
Jose Benavidez looked good in the first 3 rounds because he was beating the crap out of the guy, and then eventually we realized, oh, he's not putting this guy out. Oh, this fight might go decision. You know, then that happened, and then it looked a little bit different. Again, we talked about this fight already. I think he looked decent against a bad opponent. And that's being very nice. Mediocre is going to be probably the more accurate term.
Well, he got the stoppage, and he is coming off of a 2-year layoff and a gunshot wound to the leg with all sorts of reconstructive surgery to the leg, bolts and screws going through it. So again, everything has to be put into perspective. I don't want to be.
There's added context to why he looked the way he did, absolutely, but he did not look good.
It needs to be said because there are listeners that are joining the show for the first time today. They don't even know your name is Matthew the Hipster Hunter yet. So yeah, the information needs to be said. He was coming off a very long layoff.
Who?
That's why we have a panel here, so other people add information.
I didn't know that.
Our panelists, Doomsday, I didn't know that.
That's double
Jose Benavidez, the brother of David.
Man, gunshot wound.
Yes, and but he didn't look great. He definitely needs at least, I would say, 2 or 3 more fights before we talk about him with anyone up there in the top of the welterweight division. I
like how Joe Tessitore's lame reporting of what happened. He said a man. No, he said I'm trying to get it exactly how he said it. I think he goes like this. He said a man wearing all black and hooded came up to him. That's it. No, really, that's it. He didn't even say like that was the man that shot him or anything. Like that's it. That was the reporting. Like, okay, piece it together then.
Well, to be fair, I mean, ESPN's commentary team isn't the A team, I would say, in boxing.
It isn't the A team, but I tell you what.
Bad. It's not bad, but it's not the A team.
And Joe Tessitore actually does a good job of being that guy with the voice. You know, you always got that guy with the voice. Do it, Dume.
Coming to you live from the Boxing Voice headquarters here in Roselle, New Jersey.
Professional.
So yeah, you know, that's the Joe Tessitore kind of voice. Let's move on down the line. Rohan Murdock. I swear, thank God for boxing and none of the real fighters fighting, or I would have never heard of this guy. See, this is what I mean by watch him when you have to. This was a watch him when you have to, because I'm already watching a card. The shit is playing. I seen Rohan Murdock. Now I got to ask our Australian correspondent, Mickey Caparelli, about this guy. Never heard of him. Never seen him till yesterday. What about you guys?
Ness, I did see the fight. I'll be honest, I don't give a shit. We've been on for 50 minutes, and we have a ton of topics to get to. So I say we run through the co-main event and main event of the ESPN card, and then get to maybe the rest of the topics and the callers.
Whoa, what is the rush? I mean,
no one has heard of this guy. No one's heard of his opponent. No one cares about this fight.
Tessitore?
Yo, I think Matt's trying to save this guy for his little fucking standing 8 count with all his little hipsters and shit. Why don't you take a short walk off a long pier?
I'm just being honest. I mean, it's kind of want to watch the game. We've been on for almost an hour, and we're
so now the truth comes out.
We're on one fight card, and we have so much.
Listen to me. you are excused. Not everyone is like me. I've never watched the Super Bowl, and I'm almost 40, so it's all good. You can
It's
leave.
all right, bro.
No, come on, Ness. Do we need to waste time with this fight when we have other fights to get to? There's a unification we haven't even talked about.
Nah, you see, this is the thing, dog. Like, I'm a different man. When I first started, I know people, you know, they've been with me rocking out from the beginning. And yeah, I might have not cared about a Rohan Murdock.
No, you only care about it because it's Super Bowl today.
No, I seen the fight. Just let me talk. We wasted the time. We would have been done with the fucking topic, but you're like on this Super Bowl. Go watch it. I don't give a fuck.
I want to get to the rest of the topics because this isn't. No one cares about this fight.
Oh my God, he is a fucking pimple on my ass today. This kid, Frankie Filippone or Filippione or Filippone. He deserves a fucking mention, bro. Fall the fuck back, you hip ass hipster.
Okay.
So does Rohan Murdock. He's a good looking Australian kid. Top rank signed him. It's the super middleweight division, and I have to see. This is why I'm good at what I do, because I let my listeners know the truth. He's a super middleweight, man. Why the fuck you think Top Rank signed him, Doomsday?
Super middleweight. I don't know. Why did they sign him?
Imagine he's a future opponent.
Yo, this guy is French. His name's not Doomsday. His name is Domas.
Merci beaucoup. No, but why?
Who's in the main event, motherfucker?
You just said it. Gabriel Ramirez is a super middleweight champion.
Exactly. Because if we don't tell them today, Doomsday, because this is what the Triple G hat wearing hipster over there doesn't fucking get. If we don't tell people,
I get it. I just don't care.
If we don't tell people today that Rohan Murdock was on a card of the undercard of Gilberto Ramirez and he looked A, bad, or B, good versus Frankie Filippione, full-time police officer, part-time boxer, then we're like, yo, who the fuck is this Jeff Horn versus Pacquiao? That's how that happens. So we had to watch this accidentally and forcefully, so now we report it. That's all, you know? Gosh. So anyway, he's handsome. He's definitely in shape. He's a southpaw. He seems to have a good chin, but he was being hit by a full-time cop. You know what I mean? The cop was in good shape, but not fighting. Not even like he didn't look like his opponent. How about that? I mean, Murdoch, what could you say? He's 21-1. He's already suffered a loss somewhere down the line. Top Rank, they're in the business to the super middleweights the same way that HBO and, you know, what's those other guys, K2 and Golden Boy are in the business for middleweights. That's why everyone else is buying as many middleweights as possible. A la, you know, Golden Boy signing Glenn Tapia and David Lemieux and others like that, Gabriel Rosado, because they're investing in their Canelo future. And Top Rank is investing in their Gilberto Ramirez future, because after we speak of Murdoch, we'll speak of another super middleweight that was also on this undercard and will possibly, or is already on the telecast, being named as the next opponent, because he still has the #1 status in the WBO rankings, where the super middleweight champion Gilberto Ramirez holds his title. So, how many rounds would Murdoch last versus Gilberto? Probably not a lot, and that's probably why they signed him, to continue to make Gilberto look good, because he is not a finished product. But that's all. Did you see this Murdoch fight, or did you go get a little sandwich at that time?
I didn't see this fight.
You didn't see the entire card. I don't know why we keep going.
Only fight that
I'm talking about you, Matt.
Oh, well, he responded, so I thought you were automatically talking to him. Yes, I did see this fight. He looked good, but I didn't know him. I didn't know his opponent. Didn't really care about the fight. It was kind of on the background, to be honest. I cared about the next fight way more, to be completely honest, because I know Jesse Hart a little bit more.
See, that's the thing, man, because you see Jesse Hart's opponent, when we get to him, it's not going to be as tough as Frankie Filippone, bro. Frankie Filippone went down 3 times and got off the canvas.
Tennis. I know you want to talk about this guy that no one's talked about instead of other fights like unifications in the cruiserweight division. I get it. I understand. You give more time to these fights than unification fights. I get it. But yeah, while this guy may be relevant in a title fight once, in the future, afterwards, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to win that title. So even though we may need to know about him eventually, it's gonna be a 15.
That's so false. That's so false. Let me tell you why. First of all,
You think
Gilberto is extremely flawed. Like
he is? No, he
might
is.
not hold that title. This guy could be lucky enough to land that punch. Listen, he's got mad holes. Jesse Hart gets the rematch. He might win, and they do a trilogy.
But
And
you
that
don't
would be
think Jesse Hart
Bob's.
beats this guy?
What?
You don't think Jesse Hart beats this guy? Like
Maybe.
we can go down the top 10 of the super middleweight division. I think they all beat this guy.
I mean, well, this guy is still flirting with prospect.
Of course. But I'm just like, again, I'm not going to start talking about this guy and giving him tons of airtime and talking about hold on because
why not? He's from Australia. They just signed him as his first American fight with Top Rank. I don't get why you shunning these guys. Like it's his first fight. When do we talk about a foreign fighter that hasn't got any TV time ever? Isn't it right when he signs with a big time promoter and gets his first television fight? Like what the fuck?
This should be 2 minutes at most. That's my point.
You're backwards as hell. Dog, go watch your Super Bowl so you can be in a better mood.
You've had poems. Relax. I'm saying that there is topics that deserve large amounts of time on the show.
We're not going to
Ness. Why are you cutting me off? You don't want me to cut you off. Don't cut me off. If we have topics that are of more importance, they should get more time than these fights. That's my point. Not that we shouldn't talk about it or mention it, but again, it should be a mention. It should be a quick 2-minute thing, and that's it. And then we move on.
Matt.
You made it 10 minutes.
Matt. When did I say we're not going to talk about Gassiev?
No. I understand we're going to talk about them. But Ness, you're also the person that scoffed at even talking about Usyk Breedis and said that no one cares about that. And you didn't want to talk about that at all. And so we didn't really talk about that topic.
What did I specifically say in that sentence? I can't hold on when you're repeating my shit all wrong. I said no one cares because it ain't on fucking U.S. television. Where were these top-ranked fights at? Where were these top-ranked fights at? Where were these top-ranked fights at?
Hear about these top-ranked fights.
Fucking guy, bro. Go watch the football game. It's okay. Nobody's mad.
If we're a boxing podcast, we're going to talk about a prospect fighting an unknown guy for 15 minutes and talk about unification for 5 minutes.
No, you know what we're really doing? We're arguing for 10 minutes and talking about the prospect for 5 because you're a pimple on everyone's ass today. That's what we're doing.
I'm just disagreeing with you. It's fine, Ness. I understand you don't want me to
arguing about every fight that we're going to talk about for 10 minutes, then let me talk about it for 5 to argue about the next one for 10. It's crazy.
Again, you're talking about all these fights for 10
still got to talk about Jesse fucking Hart. So you're just wasting time.
Okay, then talk about it.
Where's Jesse Hart from?
Talk about it. Again, I've been waiting here. I let you talk about the other fight. Relax.
I'm saying. Look, my own co-host don't know where the fuck Jesse's from. Is it okay to tell him? Or should we skip it because he wasn't in a fight that Matt likes?
No, you can definitely tell him.
Nah, let's skip it. Fuck it. Let's do your logic. I don't know where he's from. We can't talk about it today, Doomy.
Yes, did I say skip any of the
box? Talk about Usyk and Gassiev, what Matt wants to talk about. The hip unification. Let's go.
No, Ness, you said you don't want me to lie about what you said, so you don't lie about what I said. I said we shouldn't skip these topics, but it should be a mention. It should not be 15-minute discussions.
Okay, Jesse Hart got the win.
I know Jesse Hart and all these fighters are not individual topics. We have 4 topics to get to.
Yo, hey, Doomsday. Jesse Hart got the win on the undercard. We're good. That's a mention. That's a mention.
Now I need to know more about this guy. What kind of win he had? Was it impressive? Is he an upcoming future fighter, or is he just another one that's gonna bite the dust? What's going on here?
I don't know. Maybe you should watch some of his fights.
Yeah, well, I was busy doing house stuff and other stuff.
Not from yesterday, but maybe like his fight with Gabriel Ramirez.
No, I'm gonna watch the whole card today, and before I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yesterday's card. I'm saying watch his other fights because he fought Gabriel Ramirez, and that was a fantastic fight. That's where he was really known. So if you want to know Jesse Hart, you should watch that fight, which wasn't yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah, I seen a mention of it in his lead up to his fight.
And he looked fantastic last night. First round knockout.
He fought who? Thomas Wimbono?
Yes.
And who? See, I didn't know. I don't know who it was. His opponent, somebody that's credible enough to make him
Absolutely not. His opponent was a fucking Gabriel Flores opponent ass dude, but he looked fantastic last night. I'm telling you, this guy's throwing around fantastics depending on who he likes.
This kid, he lost to Caleb Plant, lost to Derek Webster. He lost his last his last 3 fights. He was coming off of three losses. His opponent.
Jesse Hart's a contender. He fought a champion. Gabriel Flores is a contender with 5 fights. Like, okay, if you want to compare the two, that's fine.
Jesse Hart looked fantastic last night. The guy he fought has lost his last 4.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Let's not talk about the prospect, the new blood that's facing dudes who can actually beat him because he's still a prospect. No, let's talk about the contender who was already fought for a title and
that guy that
he's fighting a fucking prospect.
Alex Celerio could beat Gabriel Flores. Alex Celerio could beat Gabriel Flores. You think that? You thought Gabriel Flores' opponent could beat him?
Yo, let's get to the Usyk card, bro, because that's what you want to talk about.
No, I don't want to talk about this guy. It's not Usyk fighting.
What is up, TBV family? Yes, YouTube has been cutting funding to their channels as of late, and with net neutrality going through its process, the internet is changing. If you want to keep your favorite channel intact, coming up with tons of content, and plus get hours and hours of extra content, head over to patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice to become a member of the TBV family and help support the channel. Peace.
No other sight in the game could see the boxing voice.